Visions, Volume 2. My first question before we get into the, compared to Volume 1, better, equal, does it hit different? What are your impressions?
I'm not the biggest anime fan, but I'm a huge animation fan in general. I love Volume 2 a bit more, but also personal because there was an Indian studio too, and there was a lot more relatability to these shorts than before. I still love Volume 1. Volume 1 was amazing, breathtaking work of art all the way around. But there were shorts this time around that really stuck with me and actually made me cry, which, that's just the power of good filmmaking.
I think for me, it's not like a question of better or worse. Like personally, obviously, preferences are preferences. I think for me, it hits different, Volume 2, because the focus felt so different. Like Volume 1, it had its heavy emotional beats. It was a lot of like fate and destiny and light and dark and like these heavy character beats. All in all, it felt a little more slice of life. The actions of these people don't impact anybody beyond their immediate surroundings. And sometimes that's okay. That's not a bad thing. It's just the stories felt a lot more smaller, a lot more personal. But
in Volume 1 or Volume 2?
Volume 1.
Okay.
But with Volume 2, it just felt like there was a really high stakes to them. A lot of them were Empire era, like rebellion era stories. And I think that comes from having these different voices in the room. It's like a lot of people have experienced colonialism, oppression, things like that. And they were really speaking to that experience of theirs in one way or another. And like just being told you can't use your voice and you have to keep it inside and all of that. So I think that really jumped out. Quite a few of the shorts were focused on Sith era stuff in a way that felt really heavy. So those were a little more akin to Volume 1 for me. And I love the Sith stuff. I love the Jedi stuff. But I think the increased Empire era focus made it feel a little more grounded. So it was just like different, not necessarily better for me in either way.
Yeah, definitely both are great. I just preferences.
Yeah, for sure. Like we love Visions, like love it either way.
First off, this just Sith. It's not the Sith. The Sith by El Guri. And that I was thinking, I'm like, the main character might be like a descendant of Ezra and Sabine. I love this. I love this about the High Republic too, is the interpretation and description of the Force.
Yeah.
Like how people use it and see it. Like we've heard it as like music, which we do see in another one. But this time we saw it as art, as paint. And the whole paint splatter is my aesthetic. Like I was literally paint one year for Halloween. Okay. Listen,
no judgment here.
I love colors, and it was just a painting come to life. And I also just love the idea of the Force being about balance versus light or dark. You can't have one without the other. And I think that they handled that so well.
Yeah, that was my favorite part was in the short. If you haven't seen it, first of all, please pause this and go watch it. Welcome back. In the short, she is painting and like using the Force to paint. And then she sees these like dark spots that don't come out. And that kind of becomes a manifestation of like her dark side as a former Sith. And she's trying to eradicate it completely. And by the end realizes that's part of you. That's what balance is. And I'm like, this in 15 minutes or however long it was, gets the idea of balance so well in such a pure way.
I loved like the interpretation of like droids and ships because there's been so many different versions of those. Like having these artists like come up with their own versions, and the droid was so cute. And like her little friend, her little buddy. And I love the way that the lightsabers were animated. They were like a paint, like a brush stroke come to life. Gorgeous.
Screechers Reach is the second one. It's the only one that made me cry because the story is these kids going to this place, Screechers Reach, because there's a monster there that they want to learn more about. And how would you describe this monster? I kept going, they're possessed by the dark side. It was my reading of it.
I thought it was like a banshee.
It was like, it was a banshee, but I kept thinking something made her that way.
I figured it was like the dark cave and Dagobah.
Yeah, but isn't that like
representation?
Wait, now I've got a theory. If it's like the Dagobah cave and this is a manifestation of fear, then basically at the end of the short, the main character retrieves this lightsaber and leaves with a Sith. At the end, she kills the Banshee and leaves with a Sith. And her friends are crying, going, don't go. And she's like, but I want to get off this planet and find another world. And she leaves with this woman. But if this cave is like the manifestation of her fears, what if that's what she's going to become?
She's fighting herself, her inner.
Yeah, she's going to become this
I
monster.
like that.
And she's killed it thinking that she's set her future, but all she's done is like condemn herself to it.
It's dark. That was one of the saddest endings.
You know what got me? It wasn't even her leaving her friends. It was, they have this little friend who's like little and purple and extremely cute. As when she started crying, I started crying.
Oh, yeah.
It's just, that's what got me. Anything else to say about this one?
I liked also like the watercolor backgrounds of the
It was
sky.
beautifully animated.
And again, the way the lightsabers were animated, just gorgeous. We've seen lightsabers so much, and just seeing a different visual of them was just really exciting.
The ship's design was really cool too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Just overall gorgeous. The kids did a great job voicing too, because those were actual children.
It was so good. Third short, In the Stars. I think
This one,
yeah.
This one got me. This one got me. As someone whose immediate family remembers colonization of their home. This is Chilean, but it's a universal theme that sadly has happened to so many freaking people. And I love the sibling dynamic, the sisters.
So yeah, it's two sisters living on this empire-occupied world, and their mother is missing.
Their mother is dead.
Their mother is dead.
Was killed by the empire after she went to try to stand up, which is something that is very personal.
Very relatable.
Yeah. So I'm getting a little teary-eyed right now. But gosh, wow. Oh gosh, yeah. This is the sign of really good storytelling, that it can affect you emotionally. And again, like we were saying, like these are under 20 minutes. And the fact that they can like have these characters and build this world. Yes, they have the start of it with the Star Wars universe, but you can feel like this home, you understand like what they're going through.
Yeah.
Like losing your actual home. And I don't know, it just, a lot of feelings. But yeah, I love the sisterly love and just trying to keep going. And I understand like the older sisters we just got to survive. We have to survive. I'm going to go get water because we need water to survive. The little sisters, I'm going to use my water to make paint. And I'm like, hold on. As a big sister, I'm like, oh, I feel you.
Little siblings, am I right?
I know.
I'm a big sister too. That's why.
Yeah. So it's just these kids. Again, beautiful, beautiful.
Fourth one, I Am Your Mother, which we got to see at Celebration from Aardman, the Wallace and Gromit studio, was extremely cute. It made me want to call my mom immediately after watching it. It's like this girl at the pilot academy, which I'm going to make it about Ben Solo 1 second, really quick.
Oh, no.
Yes. So this is in Hannah City on Chandrilla, sometime post Empire occupation, because Wedge Antilles is teaching at the flight school.
Wedge Antilles is shilling.
He's teaching at the flight school. He is making that money because he's got a wife and stepson, and he got to support his family. Wedge Antilles is teaching at the flight school. And this is about Ben Solo because Ben Solo was born in Hannah City, which makes me think little baby Ben and Han are out there watching this race. Anyway, so it's just about this girl like having her school like racing day, and you're supposed to bring your parents and you do this race together, and she doesn't tell her mom because she's embarrassed by her. And her mom comes anyway, and they live in a little ship and they race their little house ship in this contest and they win, which it was just very cute.
Oh my God, that baby Wookiee, when he's like giving the evil eye to his fellow like competitor.
Yeah.
And just, he rips his toy up.
Or
that just
style
got me.
Like Aardman's style in general is just so cute.
Like the cricketer, how do you say her name? The director?
Like Magdalena Osinska.
Yes. She spoke a little bit before and after they presented the short, and also at the press conference that Arezou and I were able to attend, about the feeling of being an immigrant in England and that othering. And Arezou and I are both second gen. So we feel that again, Not the same as Poland, but there's something that I feel like a lot of second gen go through of trying to fit in, because that's just what children are trying to do. You're just trying to fit in, get through your adolescence, and go through it. But kids can be mean, which she has a mean girl.
Awful.
Yeah.
Awful. And this illustrates that very, very well.
Yeah.
The next one, Journey to the Dark Head, I thought was interesting because the other ones are all in English.
Yes.
Journey to the Dark Head is in Korean, which I had a moment when I was watching it where I just checked my phone and got stuck looking at it while it was playing. Not an affront to the short. This was just the time to check my phone, thinking it's okay, I'm listening, because we watch so many K-dramas in my house. I'm like, it's fine. I speak Korean. I don't speak Korean, for the record. It just sounded so familiar to me. I'm like, yeah, my brain's going to catch up in a second. So I had to go back and start it again because I don't, in fact, speak Korean. That was something. Anyway, that's embarrassing for me. But the story itself, I think, was my favorite because it's obviously not set in the High Republic. None of these are firmly, except the Empire stuff, none of these are like firmly set at any point in the time period. But it felt like the most High Republic.
It felt pre-Yoda.
It felt really
old. Yeah.
I just meant it felt High Republic in terms of the scale. Because it was this Jedi Force user requests permission to go to her home world to take out this dark head, this statue. That's like, how would we phrase this? Like the embodiment of the Sith? Not really.
Yeah, like a representation.
Yeah. And then she takes this other, like she goes to the Temple of Jedi, and then the Sith encounter them there. And it just, in terms of the scale of this one, it was just the most epic.
Yeah, definitely.
Which I really enjoyed.
What I also loved about it are the characters and how epic it was. And then it's over. And then the two of them are arguing and just bantering, just so casually. And they just felt like real people.
Yeah.
The way, again, it's a short, but you feel like you know them.
That's the thing. Like, it's so hard to tell a story in such a short format and have it like fully make sense. You have to get somebody invested in who your characters are, what they care about, and why we should care about them in less than 20 minutes. And every single one of these shorts manages that.
Yeah.
So the next one is The Spy Dancer, which felt like the most grounded in reality.
It's grounded in actual history, and the director mentioned that it was inspired by French spies who would, during the occupation, would pass information on.
That's what it made me think of. It made me think of like Josephine Baker, which I don't think World War II, that was like World War I, right?
Yeah, and I don't think she actually performed for the enemy. She was just passing things through.
Yeah, but still, that's what it made me think of. But maybe
definitely,
because that's the media I consume. But yeah, it was so rooted in that history that, and I know the Empire is also rooted in history in terms of like imagery and what they do and stuff. And I think of all the ones that tried to make a real world point, this one carried it off the best.
And I think it was so important. It wasn't Jedi. There wasn't the Force in this one. This was just like a mother missing her child.
Yep.
And people who are subjugated, trying to do what they can in this galactic conflict.
Yep.
And that is something so real. Like just trying to do your small part.
Yeah.
And of course, the visuals were beautiful with the dancing and the silks. Silks dancing.
It was absolutely beautiful. They're all beautiful to watch, but this one like was so fluid because so much of it had to do with dance. So yeah, I agree. After that, I feel like you're going to want to take this one away. We have the Bandits of Golak.
My people.
Your people.
Okay. I've talked a lot about how much influence there is the South Asian culture, our music, our clothes, our people, but not much representation until recently. And just having finally like these Indian kids like on a train, wanting to get some sweets. Just, it was lovely. It was wonderful. I'm very happy that we're getting there. We're getting some representation. I got stuff.
You got stuff to work with.
But yeah. But yeah, my first memories are of India. I remember the sweets. I remember going on the train, the rumble of it, the feeling of that kind of fabric, the smell of it. And it was also different too, because obviously this is a whole nother planet with different, with aliens and force and just, but I love that the story is about family because family is so important to the Indian people. Obviously it's important to a lot of people.
But in Indian culture, family is a big priority.
Yeah. So yeah, it was just lovely. It was a lovely story.
Also made me cry by the end.
Yeah. I like that. I think there was an Aladdin reference where he's like on top of the train and he's like, all this for sweets? When I think Aladdin goes, all this for a loaf of bread.
Yeah. Maybe it was intentional. Maybe it was just a sentence.
A lot of Indians, we like Aladdin because like close enough. We're like what we can get. We're going to take any representation we got. So that one made me cry too.
I don't think anything I can say will top that. So we will just move on to the next one, which is The Pit, which is another rise up against your oppressor short. Heavier, I think, than the others.
Yeah.
Yeah, this one was really heavy.
I really liked, again, there was like a sibling dynamic again, which I love the family and seeing relationships, especially in Star Wars. The interesting thing about The Pit is the writer, director, executive producer, Leandre Thomas, who actually works for Lucasfilm. So this was a partnership between Lucasfilm. Yeah.
Taizhou? Yeah. Taizhou. Yes, it's a collaboration between the two.
Yes.
Maybe I'm off here, so tell me if I am. It was a lot of this vibe of when you're being occupied and you're being held down by another group, being so forced into your own bubble, or in this case, pit, for the express purpose of not seeing the bigger picture. Because if you don't see the bigger picture, you are less likely to do something about it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I felt like it was also oppression can be happening in your own backyard, but you don't see it because you're so focused on whatever is going on, or just like you don't want to see it.
Yeah, so it kept so separate.
Yeah, because Davy Diggs, the character he voices, he gets out of the pit and he's like running to town, the city, and he's there's people, there's children down there. And like at first, nobody believes him. At least it seems like nobody believes him. And yeah, it felt, again, hit close to home again, that stuff can be happening so close to you and you having no idea.
Yeah.
Had a nice ending.
It did have a nice ending.
Yeah. Uplifting a bit.
Yeah. I think if a Star Wars story can end on hope, I think we are willing to forgive any roughness that comes before that. So something like Screechers Reach doesn't end on hope, which is why it's so devastating. But The Pit does. So I think that's the difference.
Yeah.
And finally, we have Owl's Song, which was the cutest one.
They look like little felt creatures.
They look like little toys, and they're fuzzy.
So adorable.
These little bear creatures who mine Kyber, but who can't use Kyber.
Yeah, and the Kyber has been red.
Bled. That's the word. The Kyber's been bled. And Owl has the ability to heal it with her voice. But she's told not to do that because that's not.
Is it even at that point, like her father doesn't think that she can heal it, but like she affects it by some way and causes a reaction. So I don't think he knows it's healing.
Yeah, but he knows she's affecting it.
Yeah, so that's why she's not allowed to speak.
Not to.
Yeah. And again, that whole thing, told to keep quiet, keep your secret.
And that's something that the creator was saying at the press conference as well, was that in her experience, like being told not to sing, not to use your voice in her family resonated so much with her. That's where this had come from.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was beautiful. I loved it.
So if you have not seen Vision Season 2 or Volume 2, definitely make a point of doing that.
Yeah. This is Star Wars project is the most personal for me, at least. Like I mentioned about like the Bandits of Golak and the Stars and I Am Your Mother. Andor did touch some very important issues like colonization, but it was still written through the lens of a white person because all the writers were white. And I definitely think they listened to Diego. I think they listened to people of color and got feedback, but there's still that translation. There's a point in between where it's like touching on these issues. I don't think because they haven't experienced them. And I feel like it's Star Wars Visions proves like why we need more diversity in Star Wars, especially when the main bad guy is an empire that takes over people's planets and takes over their land. Because sadly, a lot of people have been through that and they've lived that experience.
They can bring their own experience to it.
Yes. And I think that makes the story so much more powerful. And there's more emotion that can be brought to it. So I don't know. I want to see more than just the same writers.
I get what you're saying. I think part of the issue, I think part of what gets lost in translation with something like Andor is, again, they are definitely listening. They are definitely cognizant of the experience, but a lot of it still ties into the bigger rebellion. And that's the Star Wars of it all. These stories and visions felt a lot more personal. Like,
they had more free reign, maybe?
Yeah, they had not even the free reign. Just, this is how it impacted me. This is how it impacted my family, as opposed to this is how it impacts families, generally speaking. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think that's the difference.
But I feel like you can still bring the emotion and details. It's like the small little details, like in I Am Your Mother, the little girl like being embarrassed about what she has to bring for lunch. That's something that a lot of second gen people go through, is because other kids will make fun of them. Wow, that's weird. Why are you eating weird food? It smells weird, kind of thing.
I think that's that aspect to it, besides the larger plot thing. That aspect to it, I think, is something we generally find, by and large, in Star Wars storytelling, like outside of the mainstream visuals, so outside of the movies and the live action TV series, and really even the like big animated series, like the books. You find it a lot, like those little details in the books, because I think people have a little more room with the books and with something like Visions to put the personal in there in a way that like they don't have that leeway with the stuff that like most people are going to watch. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But still, would be nice.
It would be, but that requires a bigger overhaul than I think we're going to get anytime soon.
Maybe this is the start.
I hope so.